Welcome to another session in the Power BI series. We are going to be looking at how we can import data sets into our Power BI application. When we open our Power BI application, this is one of the ways through which the application will come up. If you have this, what you need to do is simple. Just come to this icon here that says get data. So when you click on it, it will direct you on how you will take in your data into the application. And if you want to just work on the previous project, some of them will be listed here, as you can see. However, if you don't want to go through this place, you can cancel it out and come into the visualization pane. And then you can see this icon here, get data. It almost look like the previous one. So when you click on this, so it has come up with different options. So assuming we have our data set inside an Excel workbook, we just click on workbook. If we want it from a text file, we can click it from a text file. So you can see that there are different options: files, database, Power Platform, Azure, which is a cloud platform, and so on and so forth. So let us say we want to work on a file. Let me click on the file here. So you can see that these are the files we can work with. Now, let us start with a text file. So I click on this, then I have a text file which is a CSV file inside this file location. So I will write the name. So it's CSV data. I click on it, open, and then it will give us this preview. The first one you can see here is the delimiter. So, like I said, the file is a CSV file, which is comma separated values. The delimiter is a comma. So, Power BI has been able to identify the delimiter correctly. So, assuming I want to change it to something else, I can just click here and choose anyone from here. And then this first page here give me the idea of how the data will be imported. So I can scroll and see that, okay, is this data going to be imported correctly? And based on my data, this is well imported. So after doing this, I have two options. The first is to load my data directly, or I want to transform the data first before I load it. So at this point, I will be loading it directly, and we will be talking about transforming data when we are talking about the Power Query editor in Power BI. So I load the data now. So we have to be patient and allow the application to load the data. So you can see it is loading it, and you see 50 rows loaded, which is true. Now, if you come here, you can see that this is the data I have just loaded. If I click on this icon here, you can see all of the columns inside this particular data set is represented here. So I can go down for this column, and then if I click on this again, you can see we are back. So if I go to the table view, you can see we have the name of this particular table here. So this is the first data we are importing. Let us import another data. If we are doing it from this particular view or pane, you can click on file, and if you come here, you can see get data from here. So if I click on get data here, you can see that it has taken us to almost the same thing that we had earlier. And so I want to import another type of file, which is going to be um, semicolon separated values. So SSV. So let me click on it, and then SS. So this is another text file of another type. So let us wait as the application is loading it. You can see that the preview is okay. We are okay with it. And you can see that the delimiter here is semicolon compared to comma in the previous data set. So we are not transforming, we are loading directly. So we load, we allow the application to load the data. So we are in the table view. So you can see that this second data is also here. If I click on it now, you can see all of the columns inside it. So let us go back to the visualization view. So at this point, we want to import another text file, which is a tab separated values. So we come to this place again, we click on it, we have to be patient. So we click on text file again, and then this time is tab separated file to TSV data. Open, and then we load. Good. So if you look here, you can see that the third table has also been formed. So if I click here like this, you can see all of this. So there are three dots here. If I click on these three dots, you can see all of these options. We are going to be working on these options in the future. Very good. Now we want to import a workbook, an Excel workbook. And I want us to identify something here. If you look here, we have three different tables that were imported at three different times because we were importing from a text file. Now, we want to import an Excel workbook. And you can remember that an Excel workbook can have multiple sheets. So let us see how that unfolds here. So click on it, and then this is the Excel workbook we are importing, working sheets. So we click on it, and if you see this, you will see that what we have here is different from what we had when we were just importing the text file. The text file were just imported automatically, and we add the preview. Why? Because it was only one table. But for a workbook, different tables inside a workbook will be imported individually, and each of the worksheets will also be imported individually. If you look at this, you will see this particular row. This is a worksheet. You will see this duplicate is another worksheet. This data is another worksheet. But this table one is also a table inside the workbook. So in Microsoft Excel, if you have a table inside a particular worksheet, Power BI is going to import that particular worksheet, one as a table, and then it will also import it as a sheet. So it is now left for you to choose the one you want. So here I want to import this, I want to import this. So this data, I don't want to import it, so I will not click on it. However, the table one here, which is a table inside our workbook, I want to import it too. Good. So the reason why I'm not importing this data is because the content of table one is the same thing inside the data two. So I will only need one of them. So by doing this, you can see that Excel has come up with this. So this is table one. You can see that these are the content of table one. You can preview it. So if I click on this, you can see that these are the content of duplicates where we can preview it to see whether it is being imported appropriately or not. And then we click on this to be sure that it is also well imported. So having checked all the three, and we can comfortably agree that okay, all of these are well imported, then you can just load the data. And then we will have to be patient and allow the application to load the data. So you can see now that before we add three tables, now we have one, two, three, four, five, six tables. So if I come to the table view, you can see that we have all these six tables. If I click on the first one, you see, if I click on the second, you see the third, you see the fourth, the fifth, and then the last one. You can see it. Good. Let us look at the relationship view or the model view. So when you look at it, you can see that, let us close this place, close here. So you can see that there are now connections. You can see all of these connections around all of these tables. You can see them, all these connections. So these data sets, these tables contain the same data set. And so Power BI has recognized that there is a relationship between among them, and it is trying to connect them all together. But we are going to be working on how to handle relationship in the Microsoft Power BI in our future sessions. I believe we have been able to achieve something in this session until we meet in the next one.